here's Brody Brazil.
You know, there's that old saying, you make the call. Well, literally on this YouTube channel, you can make the call. 833-4Brody. If you've got something on your mind, you want to get it off your chest, leave me a voicemail. I listen to all of your calls. I get to play back and respond to the best ones.
Hey, how you doing? My name's Chris. I'm from Monmouth County, New Jersey.
All right.
My question is about fantasy sports, betting, and all that type of stuff. So my question for you is, what are your thoughts on players and their relationships with sports betting and fantasy sports? And do you think that they have an influence over players, coaches, and just other like personnel on these major league teams? Because I remember a video you made a few months ago about the Cleveland Guardians and their pitching scandal.
Right.
And obviously Shohei and his interpreter.
Right.
That happened last year.
Correct.
And I feel like there's so much news about fantasy sports that's just so prevalent online. I feel like it's impossible that like these players, they're seeing it. The coaches are seeing it.
Yep.
So I wonder if these people are influenced by it. So, yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts because I feel like you'd have a really good take on it. Maybe know some insider info. And, yeah. All right. Thank you, Brody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Hey, Chris, thank you. I appreciate the call. Are you asking me to spill the beans? Do you want me to rat somebody out here with personal stories that I've been holding on to for a very long time? Because if that's what you were hoping for, I don't really have anything like that. And as I start to approach this, like, very interesting conversation and call about fantasy versus reality, that's like what we're talking about here. I also want to let you know that I would never speak for everyone. You mentioned the two Guardians pitchers, which have been suspended for basically half of this season. They're being accused of not even influencing a game or even an at-bat, but just a couple pitches, first pitches of respective innings that may have influenced sports bets that were placed. Those got flagged. Anyway, I don't want to get too far into the weeds, so I'm not here to speak for every single professional athlete, coach, front office person. I'm not, right? I cannot do that. I never would do that. But I think what I want to describe is the consensus of most athletes, most people in professional sports. Not going to speak for everyone, but I think I have enough background to have the observations of most people in sports and how this all looks for them. Fantasy versus reality. Are players aware of fantasy stats and fantasy information and all the stuff that goes on, not even behind the scenes? It really happens mostly on social media. Yes, absolutely, they're aware of it. They have social media. Maybe they don't post, but they look, and their friends and family look, and their spouses and significant others look. So they're very well aware that what they do on the field is not only trying to help their team, it's trying to help their next contract. It's what they've always done as a great athlete through Little League and high school and college baseball and the minor leagues and now at the major league level. They only know one speed. They only know one effort, to try hard and to try your best and to try and do everything the right way. They're not in this for fantasy points. Like, that's why some fans might be tuning in. Football players, baseball players, hockey, basketball, doesn't matter. They're out there for reality, not for fantasy like some fans are. But they're very well aware that here in 2025, as I say a lot, and soon to be 2026, they're aware that their performance also leads to a different subset of fans who care individually about how they're doing on a game-to-game basis. So they're aware of those external pressures. They're also aware of a brand new level of heckling and feedback from fans and getting Venmo requests. Like, somebody will find their personal Venmo and say, hey, you cost me today $57. I bet that you were going to go 2 for 3. And you didn't. You owe me $57 that I bet. Just made that up. But heckling, right? Oh, I had you on my fantasy team. You were terrible. It offers like a brand new and quite honestly uncomfortable level of heckling from fans who cannot ground themselves in reality. They're stuck in fantasy land, as if the person they drafted on their fantasy team or decided to bet on, as if they're not a real person. And they yell out terrible and obscene things because they lost money on that person's performance. And players are a bit uncomfortable. I've done other YouTube videos. Basketball players are concerned about this. Baseball players are concerned about this. A lot of sports where fans and athletes are close enough. Like football, they're farther away. Hockey, there's obviously glass separating fans from players on the ice. But those sports where heckling is a little bit more prevalent, a lot of it is sports wagering based in this day and time. Players are aware of that. But I will say, players can't, on the whole, say that they're against fantasy sports at all, because If you go inside a Major League Baseball clubhouse right now, late September, mid-September, even August, or when they're drafting their teams, most Major League Baseball teams have multiple fantasy leagues going on inside their clubhouses, right? So they do it too. Now, they probably do it differently than fans do. Like, they get invested in it, but they're probably not out there heckling football players in the baseball offseason. My point is, baseball players, hockey players, I know this for a fact. You wanted me to share some insight, some information. You go in most clubhouses, you go in most dressing rooms across baseball and hockey, and there are fantasy teams and leagues going on with those respective teams. Literally almost every team across both leagues. So players are into it. They're competitive. They enjoy it. They just don't enjoy the ramifications that come from it. But I think the biggest point I wanted to make on all of this, fantasy versus reality, there are never decisions made by a coach, a player, a general manager, front office. There are never decisions made because of the effects of fantasy versus like the reality of a team trying to win a game. To think that, now again, we can talk about the special circumstances of like these two Guardians pitchers who are being accused of throwing pitches, not like literally actually throwing them, but making them balls, non-competitive pitches, as opposed to trying to throw a strike. We can say that sometimes individuals might go rogue. Or the Chicago Black Sox of, was it 1918 or 19? I always screw that up. They threw the World Series, right? Because 8 men out, because they had the influence to throw the series and win a lot of money from gambling by not winning on purpose. We can say that those things might happen. But in terms of 99.999% of the time, no player is ever thinking about fantasy. No coach is ever thinking about fantasy. No general manager is ever thinking about fantasy. They're only focused and poised on reality, and that's it. I hope I'm not breaking any news or information right there by saying what I just said. I hope people know that that's obvious. They're aware of it, and they know that things they do are going to play into a different subset of fans, but they are never focused on that. They're never thinking about that firsthand, like as a first thought. And they're never acting on the ramifications of fantasy. So there you go. As much as I'd like to keep on this topic, I got to go see how my fantasy team is doing as I record this on a Sunday. Got to go. Comments down below, please. Like and subscribe down below. Thumbs up down there. That helps me, this channel, and the video. I'll see you back here next time.